Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It looks like I forgot one step of my process here, which is to set up the chat. So hold on a sec while I go and do that. That's my little Chromecast overlay showing me a very nice picture of a beach. How's everybody doing today? I always forget one thing when I'm getting started. But we are here, and I can see people in the chat, and looks like a lot of familiar faces as normal. Thank you all for joining, as usual. All right. There we go. That's better. I can actually show chat messages on the screen now. So, yeah, I should have a production checklist. Let me bring that on the screen. If I did anything the same ever with this show, I would have a production checklist. I feel like I'm always just changing things up, though. So, yeah. Let me go ahead and switch over to... Yes. Okay. My production checklist is actually my macros on the Stream Deck here, because that's kind of how I've got buttons set up for each, like, start the show, bring on the map, bring me on, cue the, it sets the audio right and all that. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't work right. Oh, hey, Camille, thank you for the super chat. Starting things off with a fun little round of confetti. And it looks like also my downstream key is not quite right. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I also changed things up between this show and then doing like my work live streams or workshops here. So then I have a whole different set of settings that I need to have for that. And sometimes I just sort of have the devices set up for both things, and then every now and then there's little things that are different between the two, and I have to change them back. Yeah, what's the fun of having everything the same, living on the edge? I agree. We're always trying something new around here. Yeah, same setup every week. That is a nice thought. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Chris says, I used one of your tracks with Adobe Audition to custom length it for the live stream I was doing this morning. I want to see how that turned out. That's awesome. There's a lot of those songs. Chris is talking about the songs I mentioned last week, which is the project I did a couple of years ago, which is where I wrote a song every day for 100 days in a row. A song. They're all very short. They're like usually under a minute, and they're just little sketches. And a lot of them are just sort of ideas. Some of them are terrible. Some of them I'm pretty happy with, and some of them I would like to turn into longer things, but I have not done that yet. So I'm actually really curious how auditions extend this song would actually work on some of these, because some of them, yeah, you could just loop, I guess. Some of them it would be really weird. That feature of Audition, speaking of, is kind of amazing. It just will figure out like the beat and figure out segments of the song and what it can repeat, and you end up with a decently sounding, like it'll smooth the gaps out just fine, and it can stretch out a song to arbitrary lengths. It's kind of amazing. I've definitely used it for my own videos on YouTube when I'm like, I need this song to just be 15 seconds longer. It's pretty cool. A reminder for people joining, if you do have a question for me in the chat, that's what we're going to be doing today. I don't really have a plan. I guess I have a little plan. I have some updates to share, but nothing groundbreaking today. So if you do have a question for me in the chat, make sure to mention my full name at Aaron Parecki, and that way it highlights on my screen and I can see it a lot better. Here's a good question. On one of your older event videos, you talked about setting up a private network to connect your gear. What are the steps to do that? I'm guessing this was probably one of the videos I did at a venue. What I was talking about in that case is basically all you do is you just bring a router yourself, put it on your desk, and then you make that the one that's connected to the venue's internet. So instead of like connecting your computer to their Wi-Fi, or instead of plugging in the Ethernet to your ATEM, you would bring your own router, wireless or not, it doesn't matter. Wireless is convenient because then you can also get like iPods or other devices onto your Wi-Fi. Make your own little private network there just by bringing a router, and then you plug in the router's internet port into the building, into the venue. So what that does is it means that you can hard code or set up static DHCP addresses for all of your gear. So if you always want your ATEM to have the same IP, you can do that, and you never have to worry about it changing when you go somewhere else with it because it's always connected to your own gear and your own little private network. So it's not like a whole process, right? It's just like go find any router will work. Any cheap, they're all cheap now. Like an Apple airport would work. They don't even sell those anymore, but like if you can find one of those used, those are great. Any of the Linksys or whatever, like Netgear, they're all fine. And then you plug in all your gear into that. And then of course, depending on which one you get, that's going to determine whether like how you set up static addresses for your gear, which is a whole separate topic. But I'm a big fan of doing that because it means you can have your own consistent network map and then take it with you. Jules asks, can you recommend a large volume 3D printer? Ooh, no, I can't. I have no idea. I am brand new to 3D printing, so I have not experimented with any printers other than the Prusa Mini right now. Chris says, I actually lengthened a 30-second clip to 25 minutes. All right. Must have found one that had a good little segment in there to repeat. I'm going to have to check that out. That's great. Did I get my web presenter back? No, it is still on its way. I think it was very slow shipping. So it's out. I'm waiting for it to come back. And hopefully I'll be able to keep playing with that thing because I really think it is a promising device. If it just didn't have the one I had some issues for some reason, but I like what they did with it. Is your audio different this week? That is a good question. I hope not. I don't think I changed anything. No, sounds fine. I'm still on the normal desk mic here with the little pink one, Movo, and I don't think I messed with my compressor or anything between last week and this week. This is a good question. The more I read on the Hyperdeck Studio Mini, it seems that you can't use it as a video source and a recorder simultaneously. Is this correct? That is correct. It is one or the other. It does not do both. So it is. It'll either go into record mode or it can go into playback mode. But it cannot do both. It is very. It's actually very, very picky. So like even in playback mode, it can only play back the same format of clips. So all your clips have to be in the same frame rate and resolution. So it is a special purpose. It's not like a general purpose video player. It is, very particular thing, and it can be finicky at times, but it is nice that it's all controllable from either Companion or the ATEM itself. Did I send the PK1 Extreme stand to Sweden? I did. So yeah, thanks to all of you last week for throwing in all the super chats, because I was able to use that to get the shipping, pay for the shipping, to send the prototype to John Barker. So that is on its way over. I don't know when it will arrive. It's probably in the middle of the air right now. So it's on its way, and it is hopefully he'll get it soon. It's the last prototype I made before we finalized everything. So it's almost the same as the ones that are in production. Of course, printed on my printer, not with the real filament. And so it's very, very close to the model. So he has he'll have a good setup there. I also made him a custom little faceplate with "I'm here to record" on it. So join John Barker's stream, here to record. Probably he'll have it by next week. Probably not tomorrow. Would you use the web presenter with the Extreme at some sort of capacity? Yes. So actually, I'm planning on doing a video about this because it's probably more than I can explain just without any like visuals or anything right now. But what I am planning on doing with it basically is when I'm doing presentations at virtual events or workshops that I'm teaching at work, I often want to record those. And what I'm doing is I'm usually in Zoom or some other video conferencing platform because of the issue of those platforms scrunching the video. So like I don't share my computer screen through this the way I do on this stream. So when you're watching on YouTube and I do, you know, and I do show you my computer screen, it looks fine on YouTube because you're looking at it in full 1080 and or you scale it down to 720, which is still probably fine. And that's great, right? But on Zoom, it'll shrink the picture down a lot and people can't really read the text on the slides anymore. So instead, what I do is I screen share through Zoom. The problem is then my program feed from the ATEM has to be just my camera. So if I want to record that, I can't record the program feed anymore because it would just be my one camera and I would lose the slides. So the ISO recording is actually super useful because it will record. If I plug in my computer into the Extreme, it'll record the ISO. But there's still a few more little hoops you have to go through if you want to be able to use a super source layout, record that, and then also have your camera shared through Zoom. So basically you need one more device. It needs to either be a capture card or a different device for streaming, and then you can make this all happen and you can both record your show already like with the super source layout. You can also stream it to YouTube while you're in Zoom, but the thing going to YouTube would have your slides in it. Anyway, that's how I'm planning on using it. So the web presenter is, it actually is, you know, it's serving two roles in that setup. It can be either a capture card for another feed into your computer over USB, or it can be a different device for streaming. So you don't stream from the ATEM, you would stream from the web presenter. Both are, it gives you those two different options. I'll do a video about that because hopefully that made any kind of sense, just me talking about it. Chris says, your lighting seems brighter than usual, not in a bad way. Maybe. I wonder if it's my main light here, because I just realized it was up a little bit hot, but I got this remote for it so I can control it now. So but there's no, ironically, there's no off button. I can't just turn the light off. So instead, when I'm done, I have to dim it to 0%. And then I have to dim it or brighten it back up. Have I found the preamps in the ATEMs to be very noisy? Did some testing the other day and they were unusable with a large diaphragm dynamic. Yeah, they're not great. They're definitely not great. I pretty much only use mine with line input sources, not mic sources. I run the mic into the cameras instead. Chris says, any thoughts on using VLC and an ATEM with companion to trigger a multi-action for stinger transition? I have heard people have got this to work. I have not personally tried VLC yet. I don't know. I like the Hyperdeck solution. And if I wanted to go into a different, like a more flexible option, I would probably end up using the iPad software instead. The main reason I don't want to rely on VLC is because it takes a computer and a computer HDMI to get that to work. Whereas I don't mind dedicating an iPad to that or using one of the HDMIs from the Hyperdeck or other video playback sources. Okay, where was I? In the chat, I'm sure John is sharpening his saw right now. Oh yes, he's gonna have to carve out a space in his cabinet for it. ATEM Extreme, what devices can be connected to an attached USB-C hub? Anything that the ATEM can accept over USB also works through the USB-C hub. So if the ATEM is hosting a device like a hard drive or a phone, I think those are the only two things you can plug into it. So you can record to drives, multiple drives, and you can plug in a USB phone for tethering. And those should work through a USB-C hub as well. Don't try to use USB hub to try to also make your ATEM work as a webcam. You can't combine those two modes because they're two totally different things. Speaking of Zoom, I used the Sony ZV-1 last week with the ATEM Mini for a live stream via Zoom. The quality was really poor. Any suggestions? The Zoom will compress your video a lot. It could just be that. So Zoom will it'll even shrink it down to like 240 by 360 or whatever it is. So that is probably what's happening. And there's not a lot of good ways around that in Zoom. There are some tricks you can do with Zoom Rooms or other devices to add to it to try to bump up to 720. I think you have to have a special account or talk to them to get 1080. But you can definitely get 720 if you just on your own. That's probably all it is. If it's quality other than if it just looked grainy, that's probably what it is. But yeah, if you have any other details about what kind of quality problems you were having, let me know again. How many hours do you spend configuring the ATEM custom features per week? That's a good question. I didn't actually change much this week because mostly I was doing similar stuff that I normally do, and been also busy with things that are not even video production this week. So not a lot has changed this week, but I would say I spend a fair amount of time. It's usually when I'm preparing for the next thing. So like when I was doing the 6-hour long stream for work, I actually ended up spending not as much time as I should have preparing for that, but that was a few hours the day before and the morning before, configuring new macros, new keying settings and things like that. This is a good question. Where can I download pre-rendered graphics with an alpha to practice on the Hyperdeck Mini? Can Apple Keynote create these from scratch? Actually, yes. Apple Keynote is a great way to create graphics with an alpha channel. So I actually have one that I made. I didn't even plan on this, but yeah, I have one that I made in Keynote, loaded up here. Let me see if I can find it on the Hyperdeck. Here it is. Oh, it keeps, I need to get it into looping mode. Okay, there it is. So this one, this is gonna be a little jarring, sorry, in advance. Let me put it on one of the upstream keyers. I don't think I'm using 3 for anything. Yeah, so I'm gonna Luma key show you what I'm doing. I'm going to Luma key the Hyperdeck. And that's probably close. And then let's just do that. There we go. Oh, look at that. It matches my background almost exactly. That's really funny. Let me put it back over my face. So this is what this is what it looks like. And that's coming off of the Hyperdeck. And if I pause it in the middle, there. So what's going on is, yeah, I can show you frame by frame. So these are little shapes I made in Keynote, and then used Keynote's animations, keyframe animations to move them. But I did end up bringing this into Resolve to line them up better. So each of the colors was one Keynote action, and like one Keynote frame, where it was like, go from here to here, that one swipes down, then the blue one goes from here to here and swipes down. Then I exported those. You can export in Keynote with an alpha channel, and you'll get a video you can play back, but the timing, it's hard to get the timing to work right in Keynote. So then I brought that into Resolve, any video editor works. You can bring that into a video editor and then like chop it up and merge them back together and like scrunch it to be a quicker animation. But yeah, Keynote can make graphics with alpha channels too. There is one trick with it. Let me see if I can remember the name of the setting. Why don't I just do this really quick from scratch? That'll be fun. So here's Keynote. We'll just make a new blank thing, and then make a new slide, make it blank. Here's the trick. Background has to be no fill, not a color. And then it'll look black, which is annoying because you don't get like in Adobe products, you get like the grid background to show you that it's transparent, but this is transparent now. So if we have a shape, not that, let's do like a rectangle. If we make this shape a color, then like that, you can put it over here. You can then say animate to animate scale. Let's do that. And then now we're setting the second position for this. Let's see if we can scale it let's do that. Let's also, what am I trying to do? This is not a very good animation, but look, if you play it, oh, it's doing the presenter view. Let me switch it to the, okay. What's happening? Oh, shoot. No, I did want the other one. There we go. So here is the, oh my gosh, what is happening? Oh, I have a monitor plugged in. It's going to dual monitor mode. Play in window. There we go. That's what I wanted. So here's the animation. Cool. And then you can like animate it out too, right? Where we're going to go and we're going to make it, how about fly out? What does that look like? Yeah, great. Okay, this is a weird animation. It'll work. Here's what you do. You go to export to movie, and then you say compression type. And this is the important part. You have to do Apple ProRes 4444. And check that box, export with transparent backgrounds. Choose your frame rate. You can do whatever you want. If you're exporting it for the Hyperdeck, make sure it matches your other videos. And then here is where you want to make sure it's self-playing, all slides. If you only have one slide, then those settings don't matter. So let's go ahead and say test, and that's not a good spot for that. I'll just put it in my documents, creating movie, and then cool. Let's see. Let me open that up in preview. And now you can see that it does. Oh, I forgot to delete the title slide. So there it is. And you can see that it has the transparent background. And the quick look is actually able to, it kind of shows you the background, right? So it's showing you what's behind it, fuzzy. So it's got the transparency. And I can load this up in the Hyperdeck now, and it will, in fact, play back with the transparency. Cool. I should have done a better animation. That was really not a good animation, but hey, it works. All right. Let me take a look at the chat. Do you use special software on the iPad to play video clips? There's two ways to do it. The Photos app on iPad actually does a surprisingly good job. So I can show you what that looks like here. This is my iPad. It's actually being shared through AirPlay. And I've got an album made. This is the Photos app. I've got a special album made with photos for this show only. And if you tap on one of them, it will notice how the display that you're seeing changed, and you're not seeing the app anymore. So if I hide that, you see like the title bar and like the clock and all that. And then if I tap one, it goes into a special mode where it's outputting only the picture. It does have black bars on the side because the picture is not the same aspect ratio as the iPad is. And if this also works with videos. So if I go to my poor Blackmagic camera, if I go to this video, it's playing back the video now. And again, you don't see the iPad interface. It's just doing the video itself. It's obviously not the best solution because in between playing them, you're going to see the app like what you're seeing right now. So if you want something fancier than that, then there's several options. Plenty of like video playback device or apps. One of the ones that I've been trying out is called iMix 16, and it gives you this little. Oh, right. You can't see the you can't see the interface because it is doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is showing you only the video itself. So if I tap on one of the buttons here, it will play back that clip for you. Oh, I don't think I have any video clips loaded in here that work right. Yeah. So it's called iMix 16. Okay, and let's see what else we got. Oh, have you played with PlayOutB as an alternative to the Hyperdeck? I have a while ago. It's been a while, so it's been. I think I haven't actually checked it out since like last year, whenever he was starting development on it. So I haven't seen some of the new stuff that it does. I have been meaning to give that another shot again because he's been working on it. But yeah, pretty cool idea. I know John Barker has been having actually using it during his streams. Do you have suggestions for a kit to connect Bluetooth earphones to the Extreme's headphone output? I think you can buy little Bluetooth headphone, Bluetooth transmitters that you can connect Bluetooth headphones for. I'm pretty sure I've seen those. I don't remember off the top of my head any in particular, but they definitely exist, little Bluetooth transmitters. Yeah. Little camera shake from your table, probably, if I'm smashing the buttons on my keyboard too much. Group HD Zoom 720-1080 should be available for paid accounts, business, EDU, and enterprise at least. Cool. Yeah, I can never remember the details of their plans. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah, can you use an iPhone and iPad as a camera? This is along those lines that I was talking about with the video playback. There's also apps for iOS that act as cameras, and I always forget the name of the one that I like the best. I need to put it in my phone somewhere easier to find. The trick is you have to find one that actually understands that it is a camera app and will output a clean HDMI signal. I believe, let me unshare my iPad and share my iPhone instead. Okay, my screen is mirrored. The question is, does this app understand that it is plugged into a camera? No, it does not. This is Filmic Pro, which is not what I was looking for, because Filmic Pro is showing you the interface of the app, so that's not good. AirMix Solo says, here we go. Let's see if I have that one installed. I do. So is this one doing what it should? Let's find out. Oh yeah, this is great. This is just giving me the clean picture out. So it's all you see is the video from the phone. And this is going over over AirPlay to my Apple TV that's back behind that rack. So that is AirMix Solo. Oh yeah, and you can see that the it's actually a live streaming app, but so it's telling me that I'm oops. That's not what I want to do. Yes, it is what I want to do. You can see on the phone itself. It's got a little button up there. Let's see if I can focus on that. There we go. So that's what I'm seeing on the phone, right? Of like go live, settings. But what you're seeing with the video out is not that. You're just seeing the picture. And that's what you want from one of these apps. Is just an ISO, just a clean feed of the video. So that is AirMix Solo. Michael says Filmic Pro does have a setting for that. Okay, I have literally never been able to find it. I have looked several times. Oh, it could act differently when it's plugged into an actual HDMI adapter, not AirPlay. That's probably what it is. Because I'm going over AirPlay mirroring my screen. Okay. I'm looking into the Bird Dog decoder, but I had an idea to make an NDI monitor using Latte Panda with a Raspberry Pi 7-inch screen and see if Studio Monitor would run. Probably. The Bird Dog decoder is not cheap, so lots of options for making something cheaper. The big question when you're using a computer is the CPU or GPU powerful enough to actually output a good video feed? So the Raspberry Pi is, you have to tune it and then it'll work, but only the 4. Don't try it on a 3. But yeah, the Latte Pandas I think are a lot more powerful than the Raspberry Pi. The other one I've done is using the Apple TV with the NDI decoder app, which also works. Am I using the Apple TV HD or 4K? This one's the 4K. Although the new one just got released or announced. So that is, I'm probably going to get that one for home just because I have a very old Apple TV at home. But I would not recommend buying the HD, the original HD anymore because it is several years old. Just get the 4K one at least if you're going to do that. Not all cables work for Filmic Pro. Apple One does. Okay. Filmic Pro also has clean out over AirPlay. Okay. Well, I have not been able to find it. I've looked several times. I will try again. Can you use the Hyperdeck to make replay at sports live streaming? You definitely can. I don't know if it's the best replay solution. I think there's probably better options for doing replays. This is not something I normally do myself, so I don't have a ton of experience with it, with that kind of workflow. But the Hyperdeck can record, like you can have it be recording, but switching from record into playback and then navigating the clips is not always the easiest on the Hyperdeck. The Hyperdeck is much better at being scripted and a prepared set of video files. So there's probably better solutions for a replay workflow. Feeling optimistic about Apple allowing the new iPad Pro to function as an external monitor using a Thunderbolt HDMI adapter? No, I'm not at all. I don't think that would happen. I think it'll be possibly possible to use HDMI capture cards in video apps now that it's like going Thunderbolt. So that is, but again, we don't really know yet. So that is what I would be optimistic about. I wouldn't expect it to work as just a monitor. Oh, hey, thank you for the super chat. Fun confetti falling from the sky. New resolve file for each record on ISO. Is this expected? Yes, it is. Every time you hit record, it'll create a new project. So it'll create a new resolve project, a new set of ISO files. And that is, yeah, that is how that is how that works, and that is definitely to be expected. Yeah, video input on the iPad Pro is what I would expect. Sidecar, you can use your iPad as a monitor using Sidecar, but I just don't see that happening with a HDMI port. How did you find the Rode Go 2 last week? Worked great. Like, I think it worked great. I had it just clipped onto my shirt. I don't have it today because I'm not wearing the right clothes for it. I'm not planning on walking around. Oh, super chat. Thank you. Wow, I appreciate it. I'll get back to that Rode question in a second. What are you using to bring comments up on screen? Are you streaming directly from the ATEM or software? This is my normal setup. So I am doing. There's actually two different things happening with the comments now. So this comment that I am pulled up because I can like make it appear or disappear at on my own. That is using my normal Chrome extension, which I am now realizing I lucked out that it's working right, because sometimes I get a little white line up here if I don't have it set up just right. But that's my Chrome extension, and what I'm seeing on the computer is this, where I can look at the chat, and then it's I can click on one and it shows up down there, which then overlays on the stream. The super chat messages happen a different way. So the super chats are using custom software that I wrote, which is definitely not available. It's not an app that you can download. It's custom software that I wrote that uses the YouTube API, which has ridiculous rate limiting issues. So it's not really possible for me to publish that. But that watches the chat, and when it sees a super chat, it's a web page which then has the confetti falling on the screen, and that's open in a full screen browser on my other monitor plugged into the ATEM, and that's just like always on the downstream key 2. So it's just always there, and that's why if I accidentally move my desktop over my face, you'll see that's my computer screen, and it's just a black window. There's my cursor even. Yeah. I can pick my nose with my cursor. So yeah, those are two different things now that I've got. But I do actually have a video about the whole Chromecast and chat thing. So should be pretty easy to find on my channel. It's not super old. In Filmic, enter settings device and enable tap to hide interface. Then tap anywhere that isn't a UI element to dismiss the UI. Ooh, okay. Thanks for the explanation. I will say I don't like that. And the reason is because it feels too touchy. It feels like if I tap, it might accidentally come back. And the other apps that I was showing, they just sort of like always do clean out, which is a better way to do it, in my opinion. You can toggle record in Companion, and the ATEM will not create a new DaVinci project, but rather pause recording in one project. Interesting. I had not seen that. That is a good tip. I wonder what Companion is doing that we don't get on the buttons on the device itself. That's interesting. Good tip. What are the main reasons to buy the Extreme ISO over the Extreme? There's only one reason, and that's if you want the ISO feeds. So I find that very useful for what it does is the Extreme will record only your program, only like your main thing that you're streaming. The ISO model will record each of the 8 inputs as separate video files, along with audio. The reason I like that is a couple things. You can, if you are live editing a show, you can not worry about missing. If you miss a cut, you've still got the original video you can always come back to. But also you can do, you can use it to record like tutorials or things like screencasts, because you get a recording of whatever cameras and inputs you've plugged in. So I've got my monitor plugged into it, my computer plugged into it, so I can record what I see on my screen, as well as my camera and an iPad if I want to show something there too. And you just get all of those recorded at the same time. So if you think you need that, ISO is absolutely worth it for an extra $300. No questions asked. It's the cheapest possible way to add recording for 8 sources. But if you don't think you're going to use that ever, then maybe save $300. Settings, hardware, clock toggle, clean HDMI out on. Okay, I'll give that a shot. Cool. Okay, so I just realized I've been blabbering on for a long time. Let me give you some updates on the stand, since I gave you kind of a sneak peek of one of those on my iPad anyway. The stand. So today is the last day of the pre-order deal. So if you, the pre-order deal includes the extra, either an extra, the back feet or the clips to hold the thing down. So where is my web page about it? Here we go. So this is the stand, and you can get either these little feet, which help it not tip back if you have like really heavy stuff that's like leaned back, or you can get these little clips, and these little clips will actually hold the entire thing on into it, so that it is a solid block, and you can pick it up and throw it around, and it won't fall out of the tray. The pre-order deal gives you one of those for free on top of the stand, and that is ending today. So if you are interested, make sure you get that deal now. It should be either in the European store. Actually, I'll go to the regular product. The European store just has the discount available. So the price for all models are the same with the either the back feet or the clips. And then on these, there's a coupon code to take the price of that off. And the coupon code is Pereki in all caps. But it's in the description of the video, so don't worry about it. You can find it in this video description. Again, that is ending today. And then the price will go up tomorrow to the normal price of the accessories, which are sold separately then. So that is the reason it's ending today is because these will start shipping tomorrow. So that is super exciting that they're gonna finally find their way out of the factories and into your studios. So that is, yeah, with any luck, we'll have those shipping out pretty quickly tomorrow from everywhere. So they'll be shipping from the 3 different locations: DVE store in the US, and then INX3D in Australia and in the EU. So that is, that is the update on the pre-orders. The DIY version, if you do want a 3D print one, I will be posting those files tomorrow. So that'll be up on Gumroad like the other one, and I'll update the web page with the link to that and all that good stuff. So that'll be posted tomorrow. If you want to make sure you get a reminder of that tomorrow, then make sure to sign up for my newsletter. So I have the newsletter that sends out notifications of these live shows before they happen, because YouTube's notifications are pretty unreliable. And that is news.aaronpk.tv. I will also tomorrow send out an email with info about the 3D printed version. So make sure to sign up there if you're interested. And again, the 3D printed version is going to be a little bit different, just because I want to make sure that it is something that you can actually print reliably on home 3D printers. So it will require that you also buy a couple of extra parts, which I'll again link to on the product page and all that. It's going to require a couple of extra little things for assembling it. And you'll have to get your own screws, of course, and all that stuff. So definitely the easier option is just to get the kit that has everything all in it. And Yeah. So, oh yeah, I also launched a new website for the product. I decided it deserved its own website, and I got a domain, PK1.tv. So all the pages now redirect to that. So you'll find that already if you're just browsing around about it. But I've got that page up there is dedicated to this now line of products, which are the ATEM stands and potentially other things coming in the future. Oh, speaking of which, there is something that I wanted to actually show you, which just finished on the printer back there. I was printing out a prototype of it, and it was running right up until the beginning of this show. And let me go ahead and switch over to the table and grab that off the printer. So this is literally hot off the press. And oh, it just popped right off. That's great. This is actually a custom designed SSD holder for the T5 SSD and T7 as well. So you can see it's a little flexible. It's got the two screw holes here. Let me get the light on that. There. These two screw holes match up perfectly with the holes on the side of the stand. So the idea is you can see it, where is it? There it is. So you can attach it like that to the side of your stand and put the SSD there. And this is a cheaper way to get an SSD attached to it than the small rig parts. This is actually something that I did not design. This is actually something that NX 3D designed, and they're going to be selling this as well. So I don't know when it's going to be posted, but hopefully very soon. It'll come with the screws, of course, too, that you need for it. So the screws for mounting it to the side of the stand, and it's got a little clamp here to attach the two pieces together to sort of squeeze. They are here in the chat. The SSD holder is available now. Excellent. Okay, that is awesome. So yeah, you can go ahead, if you haven't then bought the Extreme stand, go ahead and add this to your order. Pretty cool. This is my little prototype I did on my filament. The filament they use is actually better. I also printed this in draft mode, so you can see a lot more of the lines on it. This is what happens when you print in draft speed mode with a not super well tuned printer, but it'll look a lot better when you get the one from them because they will print it slower and steadier. I just only had 90 minutes before, and I started this morning when I got here, so that it ended pretty much right when I got into the, or when we started at 10 here. Yeah, so that's exciting. That is exciting too. And keep an eye out for more stuff like this too, because we are definitely planning on building more of these little attachments for it now that we have additional mounting options as well. So it can also, we've also got space on the back for these screw holes for attaching other things. So these two holes are sort of reserved for future attachments. These two are where the feet go. So we'll be able to bolt things to this that might, I don't know, HDMI cable supports or something like that, or just extra stuff. All sorts of fun options for that, which would be great. Oh, cool. DVE Store is getting them in as well. That is good to hear as well. Excellent. So, John is getting his stand soon, and that was again thanks to all the super chats you all sent. I do want to let you know about one more way to get a stand if you want, but I'm gonna go back to the desk for that. The what I'm doing is I had a lot of prototypes that I've made that are either slightly different or missing some features or slight defects, but otherwise they're like actually pretty functional. So I'm going to offer those for sale at like significant discount because I don't want to just throw them all away. So let me show you what I've done here. I'm going to put a link to this. There are only 6 available, and I have 2 extremes and 3 of the original stands. So this is what we've got. We've got this one in clear, which I printed in clear because I ran out of my black filament and I needed to do a test print, and that was all I had available. But it's kind of cool looking. So if you want one in clear, it'll be the only one out there. And this is the final version 1.1 of the original Pro stand, the original for the ATEM Mini. And it'll come with these little back feet, which is the main reason I changed the design at all. So you can see that it's got this a little more accessible screw access to the top, but then the main thing is it's got the attachment, the screw holes for putting feet on the back. And so there's that one. This is otherwise, but yeah, this is like identical to the final design, other than it's printed in clear. There's this one, which has a couple of mistakes. So again, I was doing some test prints, and I ran out of filament, so the sides are in sparkly black, and the top and bottom are in regular black. And there's a little error with my print where the top corner kind of curved. So it doesn't, like, it still works. It just doesn't look as good. So there's a discount on this one. Same with this one. This is pretty much the final V1.1, except it has the same little error with the top bar. But this is all the same black. So those are the 3 for the Pro. And then I have 2 available for the Extreme. And these have some more caveats. So this one, for example, you can see there's no little lip on the sides, and there's no attachments for the clips to hold it down. But if you don't need those, like, this is still a functional stand. The other difference is the bottom bar. This was a prototype, so we did not go with this design in the end, but the bottom bar has this little extension across the bottom. So that's how it keeps from tipping. Again, it works, but it ended up making more sense to redesign these so that they were just easier to print and better quality for the production ones. The other difference with this one is the bottom struts have to get glued. This did not work. It turns out this wasn't tight enough. I was hoping that just having those 2, like the peg going into that hole, it would just sort of be tight enough, but it definitely was not. So you will need to glue that together for it to be strong. But it's not supporting any weight on the bottom. It's just to keep the thing from sliding, so it will work again. And then this one, same idea, no side lips. And this one does include clips, but the clips are early design, not the final design. And it's, again, same problem with the bottom struts. So these all work. They all will be functional. Oh yeah, the 2 extreme ones, you will need to buy the small rig bar, because I'm not printing the top bar. I don't have a design for that. That's just Inex 3D that has a design for that plastic top bar. So you will need to buy the top bar in order to assemble it. It won't go together without that top bar. But there's details about all these in this link, so I'll just drop that link into the chat as well. These ones are here's the link, but it's in the chat as well. And I'll put this in the description later as well. These are shipping from my studio, so it's not worth it to ship to the EU because it is far too expensive. It is US only. I can ship them for like $8 in the US, and it would cost like 25 or 30 to ship anywhere else. So it's just not worth it. Like, you should just get the regular one. So sorry for all the EU folks, you don't get the discount on the prototypes, but I figure I'm sure some people will want them here in the US. So again, they are all functional. They just have some limitations, and that limitation might be that you don't get the ability to attach accessories, or they don't work quite the same way. But hey, that's better than me just throwing out those parts. Oh, it's a good question. Do the corner clips work on the original stand? No, the corner clips, they require very precise alignment to get it to work on the Extreme stand. So it would have to be completely separate clip for the original stand. So at some point, I would like to make a version that has the clips, but that is not a thing right now, unfortunately. Yep, recycle or reuse. I figure the best way to recycle these is to make them useful as the thing they are designed to be, rather than trying to scrap it for the plastic and try to recreate filament out of it. Oh, hey, any news on availability of Deck Saver for the Extreme? Yeah, so they are actually sending one in the mail. I think I'm getting it tomorrow, and it's part of their first batch of prototypes. So they're not going to be generally available till next month. But that is good news. It's very soon. It should fit on the stand for the Extreme, because I did everything the same way as I did for the Deck Saver on the original stand. Obviously, the top clips will block the cover, so you probably, if you plan on using the Deck Saver with the stand, you probably don't want to get the top clips, because the top clips will block it from fitting. But yeah, very soon, and I will definitely be posting a video about that as well when those come out. You should sign the prototypes. Handmade Oriental rugs with design defects are more valuable than perfect ones. I can sign them. I could sign them. If there's a way to put in a note in the order form, if you want it signed, that's what we'll do. I think I can add a custom question to the checkout form. Let me do that. So, oh yeah, I forgot to mention also that I'm the price for those, I'm just including shipping because I built that into the cost. So there's no additional shipping charge for the US. It would be too expensive to ship elsewhere. Yeah, I don't even think I'm going to add that. So this is going to be, I'm going to add a field, say type, please sign mine here if you want it signed. Okay, you should see that form on the order form now, or that field. What's a Deck Saver? Oh, sorry. The Deck Saver is the plastic cover. So it is the, or what is it called? Acrylic. It has it's really cool. Oh, I don't have it on this one because this one doesn't have it yet. I have it on the Mini. Oh, please put a lock of your hair with the prototype. That's weird. I will consider it just for you. Thanks for the super chat though. This is the Deck Saver. So the Deck Saver is this cover that makes it so that you can't accidentally press any of the buttons. You can't spill anything on it. Dust cover, whatever you want to call it. It is. It's very cool. It's very solid. It's a nice thing. They've got these for tons of different kinds of equipment, but this is the first time they've done it for the ATEM stuff, of course. Prevents your cat from stepping on the buttons. It's very important. So they are shipping the one for the Extreme, which is significantly larger, and I should be getting that tomorrow. Thanks for the super chat, Steve. Thank you for all your advice and suggestions. The forum is a great resource too. Yes, thank you for mentioning that. If you do want to post questions throughout the week, a bunch of us hang out on the forums, and post questions, share photos of things, and it's a great place to go ahead and hang out too. Forum.livevideotech.today. Myself and John Barker run that one. I saw another question. Did you figure out the LUTs for the 6K Pro? No. So apparently it's officially a bug according to Blackmagic, and that's good that they actually acknowledge that. Hopefully it will be fixed soon in a firmware update, because it's super frustrating that I can't just load a LUT onto the camera like I should be able to. I managed to find one that looks like better than last week. It's still not perfect, but yeah, it's kind of limiting when I can't load my actual LUT onto there. Is Jolly Technologies trying to clone you? Yes. I would like to clone me also, because I have too much that I want to do. Any major gotchas when using Stream Deck Companion with the Extreme? The Companion software, I think it was very recently just published the new version so that the Extreme is supported like officially. It's always worked with it because you can just tell it's a generic ATEM and it'll work. Most things will work on it. But now it officially supports it, so that's great. And but no, it works great. Like I'm a big fan of that combo. What would be a gotcha that I could? No, I mean it's great. What do you think about multi-camera switching in OBS for live streaming? I think that to do it well requires a very expensive computer with lots of capture cards, or like the DeckLink cards, and it is doable, but you have to pay a lot in order to get enough gear to make it work well when you're doing it in your computer. I think I would definitely recommend first, before doing multi-camera switching in OBS, is using an ATEM Mini with OBS to do your switching in the ATEM Mini, feeding only one camera into OBS, and using OBS to do all the more flexible graphics, and you can bring in web page sources and things like that a lot easier than you can with the hardware solutions. So that combo, I think, makes more sense than trying to use OBS for multi-camera switching, just because it requires a lot of gear to make that work well. Beta version of the Companion has the Extreme profile, not sure the 212. 212 does not, but I thought they just published, maybe it was just a new beta they published. But you can actually like download it now instead of having to install from source, which is nice. How do you switch back from the remote desk when leaving for the main seat? Oh, good question. So I've got my Stream Deck here. I have my camera. I have my video camera, my wireless camera ready to go. So let me just grab that. And do a little behind the scenes. So yes. This is what I'm looking at here on this desk. This is my Stream Deck. So I've got a button there that says, oh, you can't see it because it's light on, it's white text on a light background. It says move to table and move to desk. So if I press move to table, it will switch the camera, but also the audio, right? So now I'm over here, and what I've got over here is, let's see if this one works. Yeah, so now this is what I'm looking at, which is my computer screen, and I've got a second keyboard and mouse here, which was the best thing I did, because I can just use my computer over here as if it were the same computer as on the table. I got my teleprompter there, but I've also got an iPad, and the iPad has the companion buttons loaded up. So it's the same buttons as on the desk, and that means I can press I can switch between the table camera and the wireless camera, or I can go over to this is the Blackmagic 6K with the wrong colors because I can't get the LUT loaded in. And I can control all the same buttons from here because it's the same Stream Deck profile just loaded up on an iPad, which is better than trying to run a USB cable over here. Table audio is now indistinguishable from the main desk. That's good. They're totally different microphones, which is interesting. So at least I've got the levels and compression and stuff matching. I know you use Lumix and Blackmagic cameras. Can you use a mic input from a Focusrite Solo in the external mic input? I don't remember the Focusrite Solo. So the trick is cameras are probably only going to accept the mic level inputs, not line level, and some of the audio interfaces only do line level out. But some of the audio interfaces do have mic out. So if it can do a mic level out, then you can run it into your camera. Although I think the Blackmagic, now I'm trying to remember the menus in my head. I think the Blackmagic camera has the option of choosing between mic and line input level as well. I know the Lumix GH5 does. The G7 does not. G7 is only mic level. The G5 does let you choose. So you have to make sure you match up the levels on the sending and the receiving. That's the trick. What is the cheapest HDMI outputting camera you've used that is still acceptable quality? Think webcam use case, but not USB. Yeah, that's a good question. And I wish I had a better answer because I feel like it's not great. I feel like there is a opportunity for somebody to come in with like this kind of sensor in the ZV-1, which is good. And like, you know, it's a built-in lens, so it's not interchangeable lenses. This camera has a bunch of features that you don't need if you're using it for just HDMI out into a switcher, right? So I feel like there's an opportunity for someone to do a HDMI based camera without all the camera features. Like I don't need to take photos. I don't need it to have all the different like slow frame rate options and things like that. And have it be super small, that is like the same size as a webcam. People are saying HuddleCam HD. Is that what I'm describing basically? Because yeah, I feel like that is that would be a great solution. Oh yeah, this is a great point too. iPhones have good cameras, and anything past, yeah, I think the 6 and up. But especially like the 8 and the 10s, which are now a couple generations old, those all have really good cameras. And if you can get the HDMI out, then they're small and pretty good quality. Is ZV-1 worth the money for the main camera for live streaming? It's a little bit more expensive than the G7, the Lumix G7, and it is... I would say it depends on what else you're going to be doing with it, or if you need fast autofocus. So if you need good autofocus, don't go with the Lumix G7. If you need good autofocus, then the ZV-1 is fantastic for that. Like it's almost too good at autofocus. Like here, I'll show you this again. There's my ZV-1, and if I want to show you like this thing, it'll just be like, oh yeah. Sure, it's in focus now. Oh, you want to go back to the wide angle? Sure. Oh, look at that. It's just like, it just doesn't even think about it twice. Oh, side note, this is one of those prototypes, so hopefully somebody will buy this one. This is the one with the black, printed in the correct black, but this is the bar that has the little defect on it. You can see it kind of got curved there, but it still works. It still works. So yeah, the ZV-1 is great, but it is like $750. So if you wanted to get a little bit cheaper, you can get the $500 Lumix G7, which is not going to be good for autofocus, but does do well for streaming. Yeah, older Sony A Alpha cameras too. That's definitely another good option as well. Yes, and that's a good point. Skip the kit lens on the Sony cameras, get a good lens, which is also what I've done with the Lumix G7. But the kit lens on the G7 is fine. It's just that you can get a lot better lens if you spend money. Is the A7S III overkill? Yes. Is this the Hollyland HDMI transmitter? Yeah, this is a 300 Pro. I like it because it's small and it doesn't have the little antennas. It's all built-in antennas. So it's good for a small kit. Lumix GX85 is also another good one, but it's not. But the G7 is a lot cheaper, so that's why I usually recommend the G7 instead of the 85. The GX85 is smaller, which is nice, but it is it's not so cheap that I'm just like, yeah, absolutely get it. What G7 lens do I prefer? My favorite is the 15mm, and I'm pretty sure I link it down in the description here because I love that one so much. It is an expensive lens, but it's really good. I use iPhone with mirror screen AirPlay, no delay to speak of. Yeah, the iPhone, oh, that was in response to this. The iPhone camera, did I just show you that? Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's pretty much no delay. Like I was doing, when I showed you the screen, you were seeing the feed that the iPhone was sending as well as the video of the iPhone from the wired camera. So you can scroll back to that and compare the delay, but it's pretty much no delay. Can you give us a tour of your teleprompter setup? Sure. So this is, let me get this going the right way. There we go. This is the GlideGear, that's the name of it, GlideGear TMP 100, and I don't remember it. I don't think this link is down in the video yet, so let me go ahead and grab that real quick. GlideGear TMP 100, which is the slightly larger than the 50. And then the monitor is a Lilliput A11. Okay, those links are in the chat. So yeah, it's the GlideGear teleprompter, and then around the back is the Blackmagic camera. Is that going to work? There it is, the one with the poor broken screen. And I think this lens I have is the 12-35 Lumix, and then the monitor is the A11, and you can see that it is pretty much the same size as the glass, and that's why I like it. So it tucks in right below there. I don't yet have it it's not made for this, so it doesn't actually attach. It's just kind of sitting there loosely. I'm going to figure out a way to actually properly bolt it in, also make it like that. I'm going to probably end up 3D printing a little bracket to screw onto this little screw hole in the front. But it does just sit in there nicely. And one of the other things I like about this monitor is it's got an SDI input as well. So I can run SDI into that from the rest of the matrix. And yeah, so it's just kind of sitting there loosely, but it works. And then what I have to do when I want to make sure it's lined up right is make sure that it's not too far back and not too far forward. Otherwise, it doesn't look right. So if I'm looking at this is what I'm seeing, I want to be able to see I want the bottom of the monitor to be right at the bottom. So I don't want it to be too high. I want to be right at the bottom. And then I also want to be able to see the top of the monitor, which I now can. And yeah, this teleprompter is not the most expensive thing in the world. So there's a tiny bit of ghosting. I don't know if you can tell. You may not be able to see it, but there's a tiny bit of double image going on. So sometimes small details are hard to see on this, but I can read the on air and the ISO stop no problem at this distance. I can even read the remaining record time for example. But yeah, tiny bit of ghosting because it's not the most expensive teleprompter in the world, but it is absolutely worth it for the price. Oh, yeah, other thing about that monitor does the flip itself. That's the other reason I like that monitor. So it'll do the image flip so that you don't need a separate device before the monitor to flip the image. Cool. Okay, where was I? Oh, Graham says, I just checked Companion's latest release 2.13 includes support for the Extreme. Excellent. That is great. There's a bunch of security cameras on AliExpress that are basically nice SDI cameras with less of an option and interchangeable lenses. I have not found the ones with interchangeable lenses. I've only found the ones with fixed lenses. I actually have one on the 3D printer down there, so I can live stream the printer. And it's not a good camera, but it is fine for what it does. I don't think I would use it for like this kind of thing though. But I haven't seen the ones with interchangeable lenses, so that's something I'll try to look into. Yes, you can reverse the image on the A11. So that is, that's the other reason I like that, because oh yeah, the rest of my teleprompter setup is how I've got it routed. So because all of my monitors in the studio are actually connected into the SDI matrix, I can go into not that one, the Video Hub control, and I can say, okay, I actually want the teleprompter to be my camera. So now it's just passing the camera feed through. Or I can say, actually, I want it to be my computer monitor. And it'll switch over, and now it's my computer monitor, which I can use my computer through here. So I can say, I can do like a Zoom meeting, and I can pull the Zoom video over onto the teleprompter, and then I'm looking straight at the person on during the meeting. And because I am just doing like arbitrary video sources, I need something that will flip the image. I don't want to rely on like teleprompter software to flip it. So that's why I like this monitor, because I can do, oh, sorry, I wasn't monitoring the program, so I probably, that video angle got a little wobbly. But yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure I have a monitor that can do the image flip, because now I'm using it as the ATEM multi-view, but I can also throw my computer monitor over there or just a camera, and then I don't always have a source that understands how to mirror itself. So that is how, that's how I'm using that, and it's super useful being able to just throw whatever I want into that teleprompter. Yeah, the Video Hub is super cool. It is a lot of fun. That's what I'm using to route all of my SDIs around everywhere. You could also do that with an ATEM Mini if you don't want to go all SDI. So you could put an ATEM Mini on the teleprompter and then attach your multiple inputs to the ATEM Mini and just use it as a switcher to switch what's on your teleprompter, right? And I think that'd be a really cool workflow too. You would just need the base model ATEM Mini, not the Pro, because you would just be using it for HDMI switching. But you would get 4 inputs that way, and you can run a computer or a camera or your multi-view from another ATEM or whatever you wanted into the teleprompter that way, which would be really cool. Cool. Okay. Good questions. Oh, Randy says Blackmagic camera support line or mic. Great. Thanks for confirming that. Any experience using Companion Docker container with the ATEM Stream Deck? No, I don't use Docker. I stay away from it as much as possible. Newest OBS beta has animated transitions for any source within a scene, which puts it a step ahead. I mean, OBS has a lot of cool features for sure, but again, you have to throw a massive computer at it if you're going to be doing a lot of video mixing with it. So I am just not a big fan of that. DeckSaver is not showing the cover for the Extreme on their website yet. That's because it is not yet live. It is still in its prototyping phase. They just produced the covers. This is the one for the small one. They just produced them, and they said that the first ones they produce are for their promo shots and like photography and things like that. So I'm getting one of those. They're doing their their product shoots for it, and then they will be posted on the website soon. But yeah, very exciting. I have this feeling that we are all being drawn into your matrix. Yes, my personal goal is to have everybody get an SDI matrix for their studios. Oh yes, I saw that. Sorry, I didn't end up scrolling back up to it. I saw the order come in for the clear prototype. I will sign it. How many are gone? Okay, there are only 4 left now, so out of the 6. Why is the ATEM Mini getting too heated? It just gets warm when it works. It's fine. Like, I leave mine on all the time and they don't cook themselves. But that's the other reason. That's the other nice thing about the stand, is that it'll lift it off of the ground to get a little bit more airflow. So that is one thing to think about. Using our redundant ATEM Mini Pro for the teleprompter. Yes. If you have extra of these things, you can put them to good use. Please go back to your fancy jacket and your 3-hour streams. I should schedule another one of those at some point before I hit 50K. Because that's not going to happen for a long time. And then I'll have more excuses to wear my fancy jacket. Speaking of which, we're about at the end here, because we're coming up on 90 minutes, which I think is good enough for today. All these viewers and so few likes, give this video a thumbs up. This live stream a thumbs up. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your super chats. And yeah, take a look at the prototypes if you do want one that is functional but slightly has minor problems or minor missing features. Do the buttons on the ATEMs show wear? I have not noticed it yet, and I've had mine for a while, and I haven't seen any wear and tear yet. Always give a thumbs up to helpful content. Exactly. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna wrap up there. Thank you all very much. I think I can end from the table here. I don't think I need to go back to the desk. That's what I get when I have my macro buttons everywhere. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Go make some awesome live streams, and I will see you again next week. Bye.